Hi everybody, welcome to another video for the channel. This one a bit more of an in-depth review on a game I got for Christmas. The second in the series from Worthington, their new book game series. This one is Waterloo Solitaire. I've had a chance to play 2 or 3 games of this now and just wanted to share with you my thoughts. Obviously a bit of an overview of the game itself, what it has to offer, and some information just so you can make your own decision on whether this might be something you might want to have a look at. Firstly, I'd just like to say I think Worthington have pitched this really well. It's an area lacking in the hobby. It's something very different, and I'd like to congratulate them on what I think is a very original idea. The original book game by Mike Wiley, Sean Cook and Grant Wiley requires a dice, a pen and a sense of adventure. That's their kind of mantra in relation to these games. I would say this is an ideal booklet that you could take with you on holiday, if you're away on business, perhaps sitting in a hotel, or if you just got 20 minutes, half an hour, and you want something to scratch that itch without having to spend a long time getting things set up, or spending hours playing through. As per a lot of us, we have limited amounts of time in our lives, so I think these have been pitched very well from that point of view, and have a lot of potential to be expanded into lots of other theatres and eras as well. So let's just show you the reverse of the book first. So basically this is Waterloo, as you would expect. The back here, this is pretty much what you see on each page when you're playing a game. You'll have a number of decisions you can make each turn, and then the bot will be your opponent at various levels of difficulty, and there's definitely some decision making to be made here, some tactics, some strategy. Yes, there still is an element of luck in terms of dice rolling, which may turn some people off. However, remember, this game is not meant to be an in-depth, hours and hours type game. This is a quick, scratch the itch game for the traveller, or indeed, I think, very nicely pitched towards getting new people into the hobby. And for me, that is a massive plus point. So, you get the rules all contained in this one book. It's not a thick book, as you can see there. It's printed by Amazon in the UK. Obviously you can buy it from Worthington in the US. It probably, you can pick it up for around £20, which is not bad. It possibly seems a bit expensive on the surface because you've got 24 potential games here. And once used, obviously, unless you're using pencil and you're rubbing it out, on the face of it, that could be the end of its use and you'd have to buy another one. However, I've bought some acetate sheet, A4 size, which fits really nicely into the book itself. What I'll do is just show you, if I can just grab a piece. There we go. How that works in practice. So, for example, I'll come back to this in a moment. You would put your sheet over the top there, and then you could use some wipe-off markers and play the game. You take the sheet out at the end, clean the sheet, the book is left completely intact. So, pretty self-explanatory, but I think that is definitely a good aspect to the game. As I say, you've got 24 games. These are based on various levels of difficulty, so you can either be the French player, playing the allied bot, and the bot will be either challenging veteran or tough, and you've got 4 versions of each of those, or you can be the allied player playing the French bot and again challenging veteran or tough with 4 versions of that as well. On the face of it, there doesn't look to be huge differences between the various games, but there are, when you look at these windows, which I'll come on to in a moment, for the Allied or French players, there are some slight differences which can add some different levels of challenge and difficulty into the game. At the back, you then have, to finish off, the designer notes and strategy, and you also have the French and Allied battle results table. So if you want to keep a track as a player of how well you've done in each of the scenarios, you can do that on here. Quite a nice little touch, that one, as well. All right. So let's just talk you through the game. You get, if I just scroll that up a little bit there so you can see, you get the introduction talking about the game, playing, giving you an overview of the board, the components, and then the rules themselves, which are only probably 3 or 4 pages, and then a detailed example of play, which is really helpful for the newbie. For someone who's played a lot of games, I didn't really have to look at this too much, to be honest, but it is set out very, very nicely, again, for the newbie to understand. So, sequence of play, you know, the game will be played, the book folds nice and flat, so there's no problem here with having to hold the book up or anything like that. It folds flat, doesn't damage the book or anything like that. You will always be playing based on this sequence of play. So in this example game here, you would be the French player, because the French actions are all along the bottom. And the sequence of play, very simply, is that each turn you will select one of these actions and you'll mark your turn off. You need to defeat the Allies by turn 18. You can do any one of these actions each turn, but you can't repeat the same action 2 turns on the trot. Likewise, you can use these limited combined arms tactics. So if you've got 2 units capable of attacking 1 allied unit, neither of them have been activated the turn before, you could use 2 activations in that one turn to make a combined attack. All that actually does is give you a modifier to your dice roll on the to hit table up here. It just makes it a little bit easier to swing that result slightly more in your favour. You'll see along the bottom here that each of the units has a certain number of activations. So say I'm in turn 3 and I want to activate 2 core, I would mark that box, turn 3, just put a number 3 underneath, and that would be one of its activations gone. Once you've used all of those, you can't use those units anymore other than via Napoleon, who has the ability to activate those units when they run out of actions, as long as they've still got units left in the respective core. You'll see the setup of the game here. You've got 2 core on 1 core being the main infantry, with a reserve, the Imperial Guard, and then 2 cavalry wings. On the right here, you've got the Prussians, who sort of filter in and grow as the game goes on. And then you've got the British lines with Hougoumont and La Haye-Sainte, the key parts in there. So obviously this doesn't cover the whole battlefield, but it's to give you a generic feel for what the field looks like. You'll see there's some blank boxes at the back here. These are the reinforcement boxes, so you have the ability to move men from the reserves into these reinforcement boxes as an action in a turn, and that actually can be quite important as you get into the later stages and you're under pressure either from the Prussians or maybe just from attrition from the Allies to your front. But in a nutshell, that is the game. As you take casualties, you will mark boxes off. If the French lose their first and second corps troops, they have lost the battle. And likewise, you are trying to defeat the two wings of the Allies as well. You have a maximum, as I say, of 18 turns to do that. There are various things you can do within your activations and actions, but there are limits to what you can do under each of those umbrellas. The bot element is very interesting. So you basically will select your action, but you won't take it until you've used then the bot's action. So you will roll a d6. You'll very simply get one of these 6 results. Could bring you onto the tactical events, which adds a bit of historical flavour. You'll apply that action, you'll carry it out, then you will take your own action that you chose previously. So that's quite a nice dynamic, because you're trying to plan, but the bot sometimes can throw that plan into a spin if it counters what you were trying to do. It is a bit random. There's a bit of an element of luck there again, but hey, you know, this is a solitaire game out of a book. What would you expect other than that? I think it's very clever. As I say, there's a lot of historical flavour in there, and once you get into the game, you really do sort of feel you're thinking in terms of these units and commands, and how you're moving them and using them in each turn. In terms of the time scale of the game, I've been finding in the 3 games I've played, they've run anything from 20 to 30 minutes, so they're quite short. They're not taking huge amounts of time, and again, it sits really nice for me in terms of it's something I can get out, I can play very quickly, and it scratches the itch. In terms of my own experience in playing it, the first game, I played the French versus the Allies on the basic or lower challenge mode, and I lost. I lost before we reached turn 18. I basically took too many casualties, and it was mainly down to some excellent rolling for the bot. Kept rolling 6s. Prussians were coming in en masse, and I just couldn't hold them back, and as a result, I took too many casualties. The second and third game, second game again, I played the French on veteran level, and I won that one. And then I took a go at the Allied, which, as you can see here, if I move this one forward, very cleverly the map is switched around, and you're now suddenly playing Wellington. And that game I played again in challenging mode, and I beat the French bot quite comfortably on that one, actually. So it's I think a really clever game. As I say, lots of options of ways that you can go about playing it. It is a book game. It is designed to be at a fairly basic level. It's a quick play game. You know, it's not an in-depth challenge, but it does do exactly what it says on the tin. And I think, you know, Worthington have also brought out Solitaire Bismarck. That was their first book. I haven't done a review on that one yet. Again, slightly different, but similar approach in lots of ways. And, you know, there is a lot of potential, I think, for these games to sort of bring them into other theatres of war going forward. So watch this space. I'm sure there will be more to follow, but I hope that's giving you a short insight into Waterloo Solitaire and the Worthington book game range, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. Look forward to seeing you again soon.